Hello and welcome to the Game Collection podcast. I'm Matt, head of all marketing here at TGC, and I'm joined once again by our social media guru, Mr. Jack Keogh. Jack, how are we doing?
Hello. I'm good. We're recording slightly earlier today, so I've had less caffeine. I've still had caffeine, but there has been a caffeine intake which is more, how would you say, acceptable and legal. So yeah, I'm well. How are you?
Buoyant. I'm good. I mainlined a coffee before we leapt on here, so yeah. Once again, I'm going to be twitching uncontrollably like someone that's just made love to an electrical socket. So yeah, strong caffeine levels.
I have no response.
Unfortunately, because we're recording earlier, I've not had time to prepare a disclaimer this week. I know. So listeners, viewers, you're just going to have to accept that these are our own thoughts and aren't representative of the Game Collection as a whole. And we are going to talk about a few things today. And some of those takes may be a little piquant. That we're going to get into. I did see something cool though. There was something on Twitter. Apologies, I can't remember who wrote the question. Talking about songs that immediately kind of take you back, and the example used was the rap from the original GTA, which I think is by Dash Shootaz. That's shooters with an AZ at the end. And fun fact, I still remember all of the lyrics to that
rap. You wouldn't do that as the disclaimer?
No. Mostly because I don't know if the rights for that still sit with Rockstar, and they have been known to sue people. So
okay.
for legal reasons, not gonna prove that I know all the lyrics to that rap.
Can't beat a bit of light suing on a Wednesday morning.
Exactly.
Yeah. The question, by the way, was asked by Dan Percy.
It was Dan Percy. Sorry, Dan. Yeah.
And he did also say that, for example, Rage Against the Machine, Guerrilla Radio, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 2, man, just on repeat,
dropping into the hangar, just.
When I discovered as a kid you could just go into the settings and just play whichever song you wanted, it would just pause and just replay Guerrilla Radio over and over.
Guerrilla Radio from 2, Goldfinger, Superman from 1. That
Bosh.
Just outstanding.
We will never have those times again, Matt.
We literally won't. Like it's I can't think of, because when we were growing up, there were so many games that were like that genuinely pushed culture forward across, not just across like games, but that literally made bands.
Yeah.
It's insane. I suppose it's sad to think, but I suppose the closest equivalent we have to that now is the all-encompassing Leviathan that is Fortnite, and that makes me deeply sad.
Stop the pod. I want to get off.
down with this sort of thing.
Careful now.
I mean, although, are we in danger of becoming Principal Skinner? Like, it's not me.
No,
it's the
children who are wrong.
It's the children who are wrong. Goddamn Fortnite. Fun fact: I've never played a game of Fortnite in my life.
Nor me.
Nor
do I wish to.
No, exactly that.
No,
exactly that. Let's a few things from this week. Let's talk about some games that we absolutely want to play and some that we already have. Because I want to touch on the Golden Joysticks stuff that happened this week. So it came to our attention, obviously. The Golden Joysticks shouted about their nominations for Console Game of the Year. And inexplicably, and I don't know if they did this deliberately, because sometimes people make mistakes. So this annoys me as a social media manager, and you will understand this. It annoys me when people deliberately make errors in their content for the to annoy people into just rage bait, right? To rage bait comments and to just get engagement. And I'm like, how did you leave Claire Obscure Expedition 33, widely touted as one of, if not the game of 2025, off the list for Console Game of the Year? It make sense.
So when I saw the list, I thought maybe they put it into the PC category randomly. I thought perhaps I don't know. Like it was available on PC, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah. So like I thought, oh, perhaps that's it. Weirdly, but no.
But Sonic Racing Crossworlds is in the shortlist. Monster Hunter Wilds is in the shortlist. Like, if you were just doing a list of console exclusives, frankly, I think it's an excuse to get Death Stranding 2 a golden joystick. But that's just me. That's just my personal opinion.
Now, I mean, when you look at the other categories, I mean, Claire Obscure was in there for, I think, for Studio of the Year for Sandfall, and Best Score from a Game, which,
Understandable.
like, I'd imagine that'll probably win that. So then, it's. I mean, and let's be fair, Sandfall are probably going to take the win for Studio of the Year.
It's also worth noting that there is what they're calling the Ultimate Game of the Year category as well, which is probably.
I was going to get to that. Yeah. But I didn't. That just frustrates me a little bit. It's like you've got PC Game of the Year, you've got Console Game of the Year, and then there's an Ultimate Game of the Year which isn't open yet. It's just like, how many categories do you need? Like, there's no need for there to be an Ultimate Game of the Year. Just that annoyed me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's really weird. I look back at last year, so. I think Helldiver 2 won Console Game of the Year. It also won Multiplayer Game of the Year. Black Myth Wukong won Ultimate Game of the Year, and Asobi Studio won Studio of the Year. So Astrobot was completely robbed. But I liken this almost to sort of like Best Picture and Best Director at the Oscars. Like, if you've got the Studio of the Year, like, why is not the Game of the Year? Like, does make it make sense? Also, like, it just doesn't. I like, if you want to break it down and share the awards around more, break it down into genres maybe, but just own it. Why do you need an Ultimate Game of the Year? I don't believe there's too much of a difference, to be honest, between. Well, actually, no. I was about to say I don't think there's as much of a difference, to be honest, between PC and console. But to be fair, Steam, you do get PC exclusive releases that never kind of make it to console, and you do have console exclusives, although less so since Microsoft decided to release their games on everything. So it would really just be a toss-up between Sony and Nintendo in a way, I suppose.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me to just artificially gatekeep Expedition 33 from Console Game of the Year just because we know it would win it.
Sorry to interrupt you. Somebody did comment on that thread, because obviously once I saw that yesterday, I put it out on social just to obviously for us all to have a discussion about that. And as expected, a lot of people were very, very confused about Claire Obscure not being on that list. But 2 seconds, I've lost my train of thought.
Maybe it's just a ploy, just a desperate ploy to make the Golden Joysticks relevant again.
It's gone again. This is a bad idea to record in the. This is what happens when I only have one coffee. Look at me, like you've thrown off my mojo, man. Like, you're like, oh, let's record it earlier on Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'm just like, nothing feels right. None of this feels okay to me, Matt. Like I don't feel okay. I wish to go home, but I am home.
You are.
I wish to go home. This. No, somebody did comment, that's right, on the thread saying that they've done this before for Golden Joysticks, that they've like left a game out that they felt was going to like obliterate everything else purposefully. And I didn't have an example of that, or kind of that didn't ring any bells, but somebody did comment that, so I'm not sure if the Golden Joysticks does have a little bit of form for that. But yeah, to touch on your point about like, how can it be, like you say with the Oscars, Best Picture or like movie or Best Director, etc. It's gone again. I can't do this anymore, Matt. I'm sorry.
Jack's train of thought has been delayed due to leaves on the line.
This tells me how much I am a creature of habit. Any change to my schedule whatsoever, and I fall apart. Which, as a 35-year-old man, is nothing short of disgraceful. I can't even think for myself in the mornings. What are you doing?
I think it's a shame. I think the history books should show if a game is good enough to sweep all the awards, let it sweep all the awards. Like, and I recognize that all of this is nonsense. Like, awards are nonsense, really. Like, it's just a foundation for conversation, especially in this day and age of social media. And I'm about to go on an old man yells at cloud rant here. Like, it's just everything is engagement bait. Like, we do it. Like, everything is engagement bait, dropping things to provoke conversation and all that nonsense. But it just feels egregious. It's just like you've just let the best game in 10 years, arguably, in my opinion, one of the best games released in the last decade, sweep the awards. They deserve it. They deserve everything. They deserve all the flowers this year. I'm just like, you've sectioned off some flowers over here artificially for no good reason. Down with you, Future. down with this sort of thing.
I will say though, it was cool to see. I mean, I'm not a massive racing game fan, but it was cool to see Sonic Racing Cross Worlds in there. Like when we played it at Gamescom, we both agreed it was like this is great fun. Like I had more fun playing that than Mario Kart World, in truth. That's just my opinion. But again, Mario Kart World being in that list for me, not at all. Donkey Kong Bonanza, probably not. Again, just a personal opinion. And I love Nintendo.
See, I would argue that Donkey Kong absolutely deserves to be in there. I think it's fantastic. But I agree with you on Mario Kart. I still think, and we talked about this on the Nintendo podcast, which I think was episode 2. How it was a baffling move. Mario Kart 8 is still outselling Mario Kart World in a number of different territories, largely because those numbers are skewed in terms of because obviously it was a pack-in with the Switch, but with the Switch 2. But like, to take a game that's been iterated on for a decade, that's literally the best karting, it's possibly the best racing game ever made now at this point. And then to go, we're gonna try and prize you away from that with a game that it's open world. It was a bold choice. It's a good game. Is it one of the best games of this year? No, I don't think so.
And again, like I'd prefer to play Bonanza over Mario Kart World. And again, we go back over that point. It's just very confusing that Bonanza wasn't a launch title. Imagine keeping Mario Kart World. I guess maybe they felt it was that strong. Who knows the real thinking, because Nintendo makes some crazy decisions, don't they? And we just like, Nintendo's gonna Nintendo.
Nintendo's gonna Nintendo. And long may they do so. But
yeah, absolutely. Never change.
It was a bit baffling.
Yeah. It for me, it could have been the other way around. I mean, imagine Mario Kart dropping like around Christmas time. It would have just sold like back when the Wii launched and you had everybody playing Wii Sports at Christmas. Imagine Mario Kart World dropping around Christmas time. It would have been the title for Christmas, and I'd imagine it would have shifted a ton more consoles too.
And I wonder what that extra sort of 3, 4, 5 months could have done to sort of boost it or help Nintendo work out how to talk about it in relation to Mario Kart 8 and work out how we're going to do this very, very difficult thing of trying to sell 2 generations of consoles at the same time. Which, to be fair to them, that's a tricky thing to do. I wonder if they could have benefited from, as you say, swapping it around. Donkey Kong's the pack-in, and you're using that power because it's just all of the levels are entirely destructible. That's utilizing the power of the Switch 2. And to be fair, the open world of Mario Kart does that to a sort of extent, but like Donkey Kong's that's your killer app, what we used to call killer apps back in the day. And then as you say, then you get the brand power of a Mario Kart drop alongside Metroid, which we're both very excited for, I know, at Christmas, to really drive that install base on Switch 2.
Perhaps they never felt that Donkey Kong, this is obviously there's no shade on Donkey Kong. It's Donkey Kong, but perhaps they never felt that Donkey Kong was a strong enough lead
Yeah.
as a launch title. Like,
Yeah.
it's not Mario. Therefore, maybe we just can't risk that. Perhaps maybe it's a lot bigger than two blokes having a conversation on a podcast, right? They would have looked at like buying habits and analytics and forecasts and everything, and there would have been teams of people going out into the world and like conducting surveys to like, so what do we know? But yeah, as you
but
were.
I think going back to the list, like I can't fault any of the picks on there for console game of the year, like Donkey Kong, Death Stranding, Mario Kart. Well, Mario Kart we talked about. Ghost of Yotei, I'm absolutely loving it. Monster Hunter Wilds is an interesting one, because I know there have been some issues with that.
Coffee Jesus, one of the customers that engages with us regularly, great guy. He raised the point yesterday, and he said it's a bit of a strange one that it's on the list. It launched with some troubles. It's not playing much better now, even like obviously a while after launch. So yeah, a little bit strange to kind of see that on there, which I wasn't aware of as somebody who doesn't play Monster Hunter games. I wasn't aware that it didn't launch to a particularly great standard, and that it's had some trouble since. So yeah, that is a surprising inclusion. If I suppose sales wise, like it's a popular franchise, right? Capcom, it's one of the pillars of Capcom. So perhaps sales don't lie, but yeah, that was an interesting point for me yesterday to learn that it's had some trouble, not just at launch but since launch too.
Yeah, I'd love to see like, or get a little bit of a better sense of definition around what if in the case of Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which was on every single platform, including PC, what demonstrably makes something a console game if it's not a console exclusive, and what makes a PC game a PC game? I think it's easier to do that for PC games because there are plenty of PC exclusives or games that were built purposefully with PC in mind versus console. But there we go. At the risk of going around in circles, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 should absolutely been on this list, and Golden Joysticks, shame on you. Frankly, shame. And
I think the question was for this whole segment, which has gone on way longer than we expected.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No, this is good. This is what happens, right? But I think the question was something along the lines of, are the Golden Joysticks the categories silly? Yes, they are, needlessly.
Yes.
Next
also,
question.
Astrobot was robbed last year. Fix this for next year. Fix this for next year.
That's my goat right there.
100%. Some other things that have captured the conversation mill in the last week or so. So we're going to talk about Microsoft a little bit, because obviously Xbox, it's been everywhere. Like, they are really, really pushing the Xbox ROG Ally and the Xbox ROG Ally X. So new, portable, Asus handheld. The top one has got like some mega specs. It's got a terabyte hard drives, like 24 gigs of RAM or something like that. But all anyone seems to be talking about is the fact that it's $1,000 over in the States and it's 800 quid here. So I think the question that's been playing on loads of people's lips, and obviously it's a digital first console, it's a handheld, it's a portable, obviously it's not going to play discs. But yeah, would you spend £800 on a portable? No. Okay.
just my opinion. No, I wouldn't. Not for me. And that's got nothing to do with Xbox. That's got nothing at all to do with Microsoft. Just for me personally, the way that I game, if that's the question, I don't care like what name is attached to that console. I wouldn't be paying £800 for a handheld console.
Yeah, I suppose in line with some of the, there are some handheld PC gaming devices are really expensive. But they are. It's the high-end ones, and the ROG is the ROG Ally has been one of those for a while. Although the vanilla version of it is significantly cheaper, so you're basically paying for an Xbox overlay, and then you've got to also pay for Game Pass. And then anyway, but like PC handhelds are expensive generally. The Steam Deck falls quite nicely into a midpoint. I have one. I have not played it anywhere near as much since Switch 2 came out, to be honest. Which I find interesting. I've also, so your phone can be an Xbox. Microsoft's whole strategy in the last year or two has been everything can be an Xbox because, we have all the cloud gaming infrastructure and it's lovely. And actually your phone with a backbone works really, or, a similar kind of Bluetooth controlled device works really nicely. Obviously the Ally and the Ally X can play games straight off the hardware. But I mean, I don't know. I, as has been chronicled on this podcast, am very keen to see smaller handhelds return. Like we've talked about the DS, the Vita was a beautiful piece of kit. Like not everything needs to be a brick, like an enormous cudgel. But I don't know why I default into violent comparisons when it comes to handhelds, but
it's crazy, right? How technology changes and how the sizing changes. Like, I mean, all of a sudden, like, remember the Motorola V3, and it was just this like razor thin phone,
yeah.
And it was like chunky was no more. Out with chunky. We're like slim this season. We like things that it can fit in your pocket, and you have to like look at this closely and be really really careful that it doesn't break. And now we're back at being like size.
Big is beautiful.
Just like, chunk that up, boyos. Lovely stuff.
Chunk that up, boy. Put that on a t-shirt.
Wales.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Chunk that up, boyos.
Chunk that up. That's my philosophy for life, to be honest. Like,
chunk it up.
Chunk it up. Supersize me, baby. Chunk it up.
Chunk it up, boyo. Right-o. Okay.
But yeah, I look at obviously that 800 quid for a handheld. If you love handheld gaming and you want to be gaming on the most high-end hardware, all power to you. And look, I have an Xbox Series X, and for a while, until Microsoft hiked the prices on Game Pass, it's been my go-to for the vast majority of this year. I love it. I love its design. I love the interface. I love quick resume. I just like the service on it is phenomenal. Honestly, I absolutely adore it. Am I getting a ROG Ally X? Hell no. No.
Too expensive.
They've hiked the prices on their hardware. They've hiked the prices on Game Pass. This is egregiously expensive, I think. I don't know who it's for. It's not for me, frankly. So yeah, and this kind of goes into a point that someone made on our Twitter feed, because obviously this was also the week in which Oblivion, the week before Oblivion dropped, and we popped a little picture up there of us using the Xbox disc as a coaster because it had no data on it, so it basically was a coaster. And we got asked the question: do we hate Microsoft? Do we have an anti-Xbox bias? Is TGC against Microsoft? And the honest answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. I want to again, like we cater to all gamers. If you've got love for games, we've got love for you. What we are against is anti-consumer and anti-physical, because it threatens our business, right? Practices. I think. A lot of our most engaged followers are obviously very, very passionate about game preservation, about physical media, about that side of why we love physical media. And don't get me wrong, we've talked on this podcast before about game key cards, and in the case of certain other things, game key discs, I suppose let's call them. And there are advantages to that over digital and over kind of code and box. You can resell, you can lend, you can do the physical ritual of sorts is still intact, but the preservation side and the running a game off a disc or cartridge isn't there. And so a massive part of why people buy physical simply isn't there. And I think, if there was an award in the Golden Joysticks for industry villain of the year, I think Microsoft would begin with a shout. They've fired over 10,000 people. They've hiked the prices on absolutely everything, showing that they've got a bit of contempt for their consumers at a time when cost of living is really squeezing people really, really, really hard, despite record profits. And they continue, in our eyes, to show some quite, disdain almost for physical media. It's an afterthought. It's a complete afterthought. That's not surprising. Their entire business model and business strategy, in my opinion, appears to be, they're gunning for digital, they're gunning for play anywhere, and there are absolutely perks to that. If that's what you're looking for, brilliant. Buy once, play anywhere. And frankly, that's one of the reasons I do love my Series X. But increasingly, as those games make their way to PlayStation, as someone that's invested in physical media, does it make sense to necessarily, put too much money in the future going into Xbox? I don't know, and I don't know what the next console generation is going to sort of be. But yeah, Microsoft seem very, very, very committed to a very, very digital future, and that's okay. That's great if you're a fan of that, and there are some great aspects and conveniences to that. Not saying there aren't, but as a physical retailer, a lot of those practices are taking that choice away from consumers. And I think I've ranted too long here, but that's kind of what I think we caution against and what we poke a little bit of fun at. And I think, it's authentic of us to do that, because that's the space in which we inhabit. We sell physical games. And while we don't,
Absolutely.
and while we certainly don't hate on, if you're playing games digitally, wonderful, that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
But for us, the choice is everything. Not saying physical is better than digital. They're two different formats. They have two different appeals. But consumer choice is super, super important to us. And physical media is quite literally our livelihoods. So not anti-Xbox, not anti-Microsoft, but anti-physical, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And yeah, just to reiterate, just from my side, I mean, TGC is not anti-Xbox, and neither you or I personally are anti-Xbox. But as you've rightly mentioned, Xbox becoming anti-physical is a problem for us. Like, we will always voice our opinions and try to be friendly, try to be connective on social, and build relationships with people. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to do, right? But we have to sell games in order to be able to maintain and keep our jobs. And the reality is that Xbox have shifted away from physical being, it's an afterthought at best now, and it's only going to get worse. That's not gonna U-turn, unfortunately. Like, they've clearly decided that is their strategy. This will have been decided probably years in advance, and they've activated it before the likes of PlayStation. That's where they're going, and who knows? Maybe in time to come, maybe they'll be the one laughing. But right now, to us, it doesn't make a great deal of sense. But that's because our community heavily wants physical media. But yeah, we have to sell games, and it does kind of segue nicely into the next question, which was with regards.
So we had a great question from Michael Gulliver saying, asking, what do you wish the general public knew about being an online retailer in this sort of game hobby space? What are the challenges, and how do you overcome them? And I think I just want to really, really quickly touch on the PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox split for TGC, right? Our audience is massively over-indexed on the PlayStation and Nintendo side. So Xbox accounts for a significantly smaller proportion of our audience. That doesn't mean we don't want to cater to them. We absolutely do. We want to continue selling Xbox games. We want to continue servicing that audience. But Microsoft's commitment to physical, or lack thereof, contributes to that. Like, it's
Absolutely.
a dwindling physical audience because Microsoft's strategy has been very, very digital first. And when we post, when we market, we tend to do that towards our largest audience to see what's going to resonate the most. And more often than not, it's we're talking to a PlayStation and Nintendo audience. So we still want to continue servicing physical Xbox fans as much as we possibly can. I'm one of them, right? But yeah, we have to cater towards what sells. And I think on that note as well, sometimes, we get asked about stock levels sometimes. The intake on Xbox will always be a lot smaller than on PlayStation and on Switch, simply because the demand is a lot lower.
Yep.
So yeah, that's sometimes a bit of a chicken and egg guessing game on our part, and it's our buying team's job to kind of get that balance right. But yeah, taking in a lot of Xbox stock for us is getting riskier by the day, to be honest.
Yeah, and I really like this question because it gives us an opportunity to just kind of, I think, educate a little bit around some of the issues that we face as a retailer when it comes to, for example, running offers. We had an offer on the website. Was it last weekend or perhaps the weekend before? There were, I think it was around 30 games that you had 10% off at the basket.
Yeah.
So a lot of those like offers like that, like it looks great, and it's a brilliant way for us to be able to run something different. It's not a sale, it's just like a smaller, more focused offer. But like has to be an understanding that we aren't always able to like those titles are often dictated by our publisher restrictions and what we're allowed to be able to promo. It's not a case of us being able to like just drop in, say, 10 Xbox, 10 PS5, and 10 Switch. There was a customer on social that felt it was a very personal attack on Xbox, that I think we only had one Xbox title in there. Unfortunately, like there are numerous factors in play here. He took that as a we're anti Xbox. It's like, no, not at all. There are numerous factors. One, there are far less physical titles now available on Xbox. Whereas in comparison, as you've mentioned, our PlayStation and Switch audience is huge. So we do have a huge range of those titles. But then you have like I said, there's only certain titles you're able to kind of then put in those offers and allow to promo. So yeah, unfortunately, with a law of averages, with that in play, sadly, there being only maybe one or two Xbox titles in that offer is not because we hate Xbox. It's because our hands are tied in multiple places. It's really not this cut and dried attack that sometimes like certain gamers feel that it is. And so yeah, I really wanted to address that because like we are not anti Xbox. We just we would love Microsoft to offer physical titles on their games. The amount of times I see on social when we announce something really great, for example, the Yakuza 20th anniversary edition, that's absolutely flown for us a month or so ago, and then we restocked yesterday, and they've gone as well. And straight away is people in then saying no Xbox, and it's like nope, no Xbox physical. Unfortunately, it's sad. It's sad to see because we want to be able to offer that to our community too, and it just becomes more and more frequent now that there is no physical on Xbox, and if it is, there's nothing on the disc. And that is sad.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a really good point there. And obviously, we have a sister company, Curveball Games, that's engaged in publishing. These decisions often happen at a publisher level. So when you're putting a game onto a disc or onto a cartridge, you're going to weigh up the you're going to do sales projections, you're going to have sales forecasts. You need to be able to market that game, and you need to be able to sell it, and there needs to be an audience there that's going to buy it, right?
Yep.
Increasingly across the industry, and these conversations happen at our sister company. They happen at every single publisher. I've worked at 2K, and I've worked at PlayOn, and I've worked, within the industry for 15 years.
Name drop.
But these conversations happen behind closed doors, right? And when we are talking about physical, the conversations happening in publisher boardrooms and publisher meeting rooms across the world are: is this going to make money if we do this? Because ultimately, it's got to make money. Is that audience big enough on Xbox? Is the question that's been reverberating around those rooms for the last couple of years. And you see this when we get, when indies cross over from digital success into the physical space, the limited runs tend to happen on PlayStation and they tend to happen on Switch. Why? Because those audiences still buy physical. And it is a shame if you're an Xbox collector. It really is, because, you and I are sat here going, oh no, because
Yep.
because it just doesn't happen. And it sucks to be in that minority group. But sadly, again, that's market forces at play, driven by Microsoft strategy, saying to publishers, we don't really care about physical. So it's a tough one. We'd love to sell a whole bunch of these games on Xbox, but it's sometimes those games literally aren't there.
No, unfortunately. But yeah, so there was that point I wanted to make. Again, around community education, around some of the issues that we face. Sometimes when we restock, even a pre-order, like pre-order stock can sell out. Like certain people sometimes have said in the past, how can you be out of stock on a pre-order? And it's like, well, because we have a pre-order allocation, and if that sells out, we then have to source more stock to be confirmed they're coming into us before release day, to ensure that we can actually then provide that service. Sometimes the price will then increase, and then we get the question, why have you increased the price on the new stock when it's still a pre-order? Unfortunately, that's because our buying team has had to spend more money on the stock, on the restock. The cost of the units are more expensive, meaning we then have to increase the retail price. It does, believe it or not, some people are unhappy to obviously pre-order much further in advance, but there are positives to early adopting. It does sometimes work out a little bit cheaper for you. So there was that as well, because it does look like we're just trying. Oh, like that's selling really well. They've increased the price. It's like no, that's not the case. We've sold out on that item. We've then had to source more stock, and if it does increase, that's because it's normally cost us more money to bring more stock in. So I really wanted to kind of get that out there as well, just because it's important, I think, for us.
Yeah, 100%. I think we also get sort of just going back to your point around offers. Like we get questions around £10 extra rewards as well. Stuff coming in and going out of a promotion. And to Jack's point earlier, like it's run rates, right? And it's margins, and it's like 10, 20, 30 different factors that our commercial team looks at to determine what we can do at what point and when. So sometimes it's permissions from our partners. Sometimes it's driven by, are we actually losing money on a thing? And sometimes we are. We have to address that. All of which, some occasionally it's marketing. We want to drive FOMO on a line because the run rate on it has slowed, or there's a great opportunity within the margin to sell it really nicely. We've got a lot of stock holding, right? Like I think one of the things people forget is when you're dealing with physical media, you have to store the physical media somewhere, and that takes up space and it costs money. So yeah, as well as stock availability before it even hits our warehouse, then there's the case of like when it does hit our warehouse, well, then we've got to keep it somewhere. So that's why sometimes, especially niche lines, folks will ask, "Oh, are there any plans to get this really obscure Japanese RPG back into stock?" And don't get me wrong, I love obscure niche Japanese RPGs, but they're risky to take large stock holdings of because the audience is very, very narrow. So it's, there are so many factors at play in terms of a lot of this stuff, and what stock we get in, and what we can sell things for, and what and when we can do from a promotional standpoint. So yeah, wanted to try and lift the lid a little bit on some of what goes on. But yeah, we're always trying to bring the best value to our customers, and we're trying to do right by our collector community. But yeah, there are significant challenges that physical faces, particularly when compared to digital.
And there was one more point I just wanted to touch upon within that question, which was street date agreements. Now, they are very strict, and street date agreements mean we have to sign it before the stock arrives, and then we get our stock, and then under no condition are we allowed to ship anything until the day before release. Now, obviously, we offer free Royal Mail Track 24 delivery. As an independent retailer, that is the best service we can offer, with the highest delivery rate for next day delivery, in line with our costs that we are able to spend. We're always looking to see if there are better ways better ways than me. Better ways. That's the Welshman in me. I'm sorry. Better ways to accommodate and to service our customers. But ultimately, if there's a delivery service in place for us, that is the one that we're able to best use in order to service as many people as we possibly can with the highest delivery rate. Now, no service is perfect, and there will be occasions when a pre-order doesn't arrive on release day. That is obviously incredibly frustrating. As gamers ourselves, we fully appreciate the importance of release day delivery. That's the whole point of pre-ordering. Otherwise, you could just go into a shop and buy it. Fully understand that. Unfortunately, when our hands are tied that tightly in that scenario, there will sometimes be an occasion, even with Royal Mail Track 24 delivery, it leaves our warehouse, delays in transit. Sometimes Royal Mail service is just not at that point that it needs to be. There are multiple factors in play once it leaves our warehouse. However, we of course accept full responsibility for that package. And so, whilst no service is perfect, if it doesn't arrive with you on release day, and that is due to Royal Mail not getting it to you, you can contact the CS team and you will be compensated in rewards for that inconvenience. Now, that for me is how we kind of overcome. It's not about being able to fix it, unfortunately. It's about being fully transparent with our customer base and offering extra support, whether that's myself on social media or referring them straight through to CS with their ticket reference and getting it sorted as soon as possible. Basically, we would love to guarantee that everything arrives on release day. Unfortunately, the world is not perfect, but we do everything in our power to get your pre-order to you on release day. And if that doesn't happen, we try to fix it in the best way we can.
Yeah, and I think like we'll always try to compensate where folks have been inconvenienced. Like we understand the frustration of a game arriving late, and as I think as you said there, like so much of the time it is out of our hands in the sense that we can be hamstrung by quite a stringent street date agreement. We can be, if the stock doesn't arrive at our warehouse in time, that's always a problem, right? Like, so sometimes sometimes the ball gets dropped between our distribution and our publishing partners and the warehouse, and we have to scramble. And the warehouse team does a fantastic job to do that.
Absolutely.
To try and get everything out on time. There's nothing worse than a big old box of games arriving into the warehouse late. So yeah, that's something that we can't really control. But I think the important thing to Jack's point there is, we'll always try and be transparent. We'll always assume that responsibility for making it right or trying to make it right. And once again, trying to do the best, the very best by our customers. So yeah, like we see you, we hear you, we really appreciate you. Like every single person.
Yes, we do.
We say this all the time that buys from us. But yeah, know that we're trying to do our very, very, very best for you.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
And yeah, like I think one or two folks have pinged me on TikTok in the past few months and been like, "Oh, I thought the game collection was just you." It's like, no. We have, as I've mentioned before, we have a warehouse in Swansea. We have a team of people working diligently to get this stuff out and to get you your games.
And an office in Cardiff.
And an office in Cardiff. And there are so many things from like warehouse and logistics to customer service to our commercial teams, our ops guys, like that make the game collection tick. So yeah, we just get to do the fun stuff and chat to you guys.
Absolutely, and they've got two social media managers, one in England and one in France. It's a full-on tour. Yes.
Oh, right. We've talked about a lot of serious things there. Let's get into some fun stuff. Let's get in some games. We've had some. Thank you again to everyone that sent in questions. We've had some great games drop this week. I'm just going to shout out Ninja Gaiden 4 because I played some of it last night, and it is, if you like action hack and slash games, if you, like me, are a little frustrated with everything these days being a Souls-like, and you want some fast, responsive, incredible combat, oh my days, Ninja Gaiden 4, it's just, it's delicious. When this comes out, by the time this comes out, Tomb Raider 4 to 6 collection will be out as well. But yeah, thinking about remakes, thinking about remasters, thinking about bringing old games into the present. David Rush has come in with a question asking what games or what game from your youth that hasn't had a remake or remaster would you like to see getting a 9th generation outing, and why?
I would love it's we actually dropped this question in at the last minute. And I mean I would love Turok to come back with a full-on modern day remake, like full like can you imagine that with like in today's world?
The
Like
cerebral
Turok Dinosaur
bore
Hunt.
with today's tech would be
Uh,
disgusting. It
we
would
are
be
not worthy.
disgusting.
We are not worthy. But yeah, that was Turok 2, right? I think.
Yeah, that
But
was Turok 2.
but then if we're doing Turok, do Turok 2 as well. Yeah, hell yeah. Like bundle that together and yeah, remake it for the masses. But yeah, that was a question we dropped in at the last minute, and so I apologize if I've maybe mentioned Turok before, but yeah, that one was something I was like, no, that in modern day would be aces,
Be exquisite.
absolute aces.
I love just like because Doom has shown us how a classic series can just sort of elevate and evolve.
Incredible.
Just like yeah, a full remake of Turok 1 and 2 would be it'd be awesome. Disgustingly awesome. Yeah, sign me up. This has been so my pick for this is actually in development, but I don't know where it's gone. It sort of got rumored and then it disappeared for a while, and I want it. I want it desperately.
Knights of the Old Republic?
It's Knights of the Old Republic. I need it. I need it in my. I need it, especially because again, I don't want to get into. I could spend all day talking about the EA takeover and my fears for BioWare and how that studio has declined in recent years. I was sad when the Doctors left, but classic BioWare is still like 90s and noughties BioWare is to me just like the gold standard of dev studio. Just what they were doing with RPGs was just phenomenal. So yeah, give me KOTOR, and do you know what? Give me KOTOR 2 while we're at it as well.
Greedy.
Yeah, 100%. If you can have Turok 1 and 2, I want KOTOR 1 and 2. Today's world, delicious tech, gorgeous lightsaber combat. Just give it to me. Inject it into my veins. Fill my retinas with its awesomeness. I want it. I want it all. But I think about the different ways that we could, more direct control, a more immediate combat system, perhaps. Like all of these things are possible. Like where we got to with Mass Effect 3 versus Mass Effect 1, for example. Keep all the delicious, awesome RPG-ness, but that combat could be really cool in the right hands. So yeah, KOTOR for me.
That's the point, though, isn't it? In the right hands.
In the right hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stop shuttering studios, guys. We really need to get to a point where we're not seeing this talent exodus from the games industry, because it's got me worried. And let's retain this talent, please, guys.
Please, God, please do not make this industry any smaller. Like it seems to be shrinking by the day.
Yeah. So yeah, KOTOR for me. KOTOR and Turok. That would be lovely. That'd be absolutely lovely.
Vibes.
I'm assuming I'm supposed to pronounce this as Fascinate. Fascinate has asked if you could be any gaming character for a day living in their world, who would you be and why?
For me, mine's a little bit of a cheat, but Kirby, because I could just inhale whoever I wanted and experience multiple people's techniques. Yeah. I mean, there I am, just this pink floating podge, and then the next thing I'm Link, and I've got Link's hat on and a little sword, and I'm running around just slashing things up like fire. So yeah, Kirby.
I think that's a great shout, and I think there's no wrong answer with any Nintendo game, because I've written down like Pokemon, Animal Crossing, like all Nintendo worlds are just brightly colored. They're beautiful. Like the biggest menace in them is like a fire-breathing turtle dragon, who's really a bit of a sweetheart. Or I just think it would be fine. Like Pokemon, to me, I think I'd love to live in the world of Pokemon, because it's just it's just delightful. I don't want to bring Pokemon. We've talked about how horrifying Pokemon would be if we brought Pokemon into this world, because it's basically just exaggerated cockfighting and it's really violent and horrible.
Yeah, we spoke for an hour and 20 minutes on that last week.
Yeah, and you've got mob bosses running around like just genuinely like fighting children. It's awful.
Yeah.
But in Pokemon's world, it's lovely, and you can just go on adventures, and everything's just really bright and colourful, and those animals never die. They just faint a bit, and it's all fine. But if it was just for a day, and if I had to be any gaming character, and then if I could bring back the stuff from that world into my own life, I'd go be Tom Nook in Animal Crossing, because one, you get to live in Animal Crossing, which is delightful, but as Tom Nook, you also get to accumulate vast amounts of wealth in a very short space of time, and then I'd take that back with me into the real world. So yeah, that's
Tom Nook for a day. Tom Nook for a day, a king for a lifetime.
That's right. Tom Nook for a day, absolutely made for life. Wonderful stuff.
Where did Matt make his money? He was Tom Nook for a day. Crazy. It's a mad story.
I swindled a dog out of some bells.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Beautiful. So yes, thank you, Fascinate, for that question. Thank you as well, Liam. Liam Simcox has asked, and I love this question.
Me too.
What single gaming moment completely rewired your brain and changed what you thought games could be? This is a fantastic question. This is.
So I know I've mentioned it a few times, but I remember seeing. I've kind of gone like from when I was a kid to something I experienced as an adult. When I first saw Omaha Beach at Medal of Honor Frontline, I thought that was the peak of video games. I genuinely thought nothing could ever look any better on a gaming console than that moment. Obviously, you play it now, and it's just a bit smudgy, isn't it? But still, but at the time, it was truly baffling to me. I felt like I was, it was insane. And then on the flip side of that, I really felt, and you know what? Sometimes when I still see like a GIF or I see a short little video of it, that first time you see Link look at Hyrule in Breath of the Wild on the Switch when he comes out and it pans across and the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild comes up. I don't know why that kind of hit me the way that it did, but I just thought it was just absolutely gorgeous. And it's like, wow, this is a Nintendo console. Like you always, as you've mentioned, you always expect that kind of certain kind of art style with Nintendo. It's just wired in, isn't it? You kind of know what to expect. But for me, Breath of the Wild captured that like maturity of it as well in a way that was just kind of like really this warm feeling of wow, like look at that, boys. It was, yeah. And in the middle of all that as well, I also remember as a kid being really impressed with the level St. Francis Folly in Tomb Raider, the way that it was stacked and he went into the different rooms and Democles and just I thought that concept was just insane. I always remember my dad being like, because I was watching my dad play it, and he was like, just look at this, like this is mad, like this looking up and down and seeing the drop and like. And then, of course, doing it for a laugh, just diving off from the top because why not?
Why not?
But it's got to be done. But yeah. So yeah, those were the two that I kind of came up with that kind of just jumped out. But there are like many moments in video games.
There are so many, right?
Which just blew my tiny mind. But yeah, how about you?
I think the Zelda thing is really. I'm going to mention Ocarina of Time because I think the most of the 3D Zelda games has that moment, right? And for me, so I think that moment depends on which Zelda games you play first, in a way. So Ocarina of Time, the first time you step out into Hyrule Field, and it, the camera shot, what your perspective widens, and you're just like, there's all this freedom, and the sky is beautiful blue, and you can see the castle in the distance, and the owl is perched on the tree above you, and you come out, and you're just like, oh wow. Wow. And there's just nothing like it, really. Back on the N64, it blew my tiny little mind. I was just like, that was a real moment of, oh, this is going to be special. This is going to be really special. And it was.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. A couple of other moments I want to mention. So Metal Gear Solid when Psycho Mantis reads your memory card. It was just like, what is happening? Like this is absolutely insane. And for a similar reason, Eternal Darkness, when it makes you think that your GameCube has literally just bricked, and you're like, the sanity meter just goes all the way, and you're just like, has it just crashed my console?
Did that happen? That's amazing.
Genius. It needs to come back. You need to play Eternal. You love
Okay.
survival psychological horror. You'd love it.
Yes.
But I think something just generally for me. Quick shout out to the Halo series and skyboxes. I think Halo Reach has some of the best vistas on the Xbox 360. But like I used to have to stop. I'd clear an area out and I'd just stop surrounded by all these kind of Covenant dead bodies and just look at the sky. Or like you get to the edge of a precipice and you're just looking at the gorgeous vista before you. I always thought Bungie did an incredible job of like long distance world building, just making you want to sort of check out the horizon and gaze lovingly into it.
Can I just say, we were this close to you not mentioning Halo on a podcast. We were this close. We were, for those of you not watching on YouTube.
I haven't mentioned the other one though. I haven't mentioned the other one.
Very close together.
Yet.
Very close to me. We were this close. So now I've also got to do the honourable thing and shoot myself in the face and say, Capcom, remake Dino Crisis. There we go. I couldn't leave you out there alone. I had to do it. I did it for you. I did it for you, Matt.
I love it.
So yeah,
I love it. But I want to. You mentioned Medal of Honor, and that sort of crossover with in a previous podcast, that sort of crossover with Saving Private Ryan, and how it was a really cinematic moment. And I think talking about cinematic moments, the 90s was big for me on PC. So I've mentioned Dark Forces before, allowing you to sort of feel like you're in a Star Wars film. But what really did it, I fell in love with Star Wars in the 90s. They did all of the enhanced edition stuff around 98. And my mum, who is a massive Star Wars and Star Trek fan, just got me hugely into Star Wars. She was like, you've got to watch this. It's
amazing. Love that.
And then I discovered X-Wing and TIE Fighter. And then later on Rogue Squadron on the N64, but initially X-Wing and TIE Fighter. It's in first person, and it staggered me that I could be in this world, and I could pilot these things, and it's just phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal games that just fully rooted you in a
universe that you loved.
Experience in a universe that I thought was just the coolest thing. I still do. I mean, if I ignore the sequels, at the very least, if I ignore Rise of Skywalker, I still do think Star Wars is fundamentally at its core just boss. It's just so good. And yeah, X-Wing and TIE Fighter just blew my little mind.
Yes,
this is incredible. And then you got Dark Forces, and then Shadows of the Empire, and then Rogue Squadron, and then on the GameCube doing the Death Star trench run on like Rogue Leader, and the graphics on the GameCube popping my just absolutely just mate, I didn't think games would ever get better than that. And they did.
You love Star Wars.
But at that point in time, Death Star Trench Run, Rogue Leader, I was just like, this is it. There will never be it will never get better than this. I am Luke Skywalker. This is how can it possibly get better than this?
And then it did.
And somehow it did. But
yeah.
But I don't think as a Star Wars fan, I don't think I've ever felt kind of that linked to the original trilogy than Death Star Trench Run, Rogue Leader.
On the flip side to that, I also love Star Wars. For me, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are probably two of my favorite games ever. Specifically, Fallen Order. It just felt like a Star Wars game done right. Like I just absolutely loved the character, the story, the planets. It was just mind blowing. It was just like open world Star Wars, and loved it.
It's phenomenal. I I've got a big soft spot for the old Kyle Katarn games as well. So I read a lot of the Legends stuff, and the fact that you could go to the new Jedi Order temple on Yavin 4 and as Kyle, because Kyle becomes a Jedi, and train with Luke. I'm like, this is awesome. This is so great in Jedi Academy. It's just the best. And then like the Sith come and you're just fighting Sith in the Jedi Academy. It's just the best. And then you get actually no. So I say like it never got better than Rogue Leader. There's a moment in Jedi Academy where you basically get to choose between Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber from Episode 1 and just wielding two lightsabers like Anakin in Episode 2, and it's just like, oh, well, this is the best choice ever. I want it all. Like it's magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent.
The fan service, man.
It's just so great. So great. Dorky Swimmer has asked, what game do you believe was incredibly well made and was not given much appreciation when it first released? So I think we had something similar to this one before, but yeah, what game do you believe was incredibly well made and was just went under the radar, was a bit underrated?
I think I've kind of answered this a different way. Again, I tried to really think about these questions, but one that kind of came to me in terms of, I think maybe more post-release for still some of the way it gets treated. Days Gone. Like,
okay.
Disclaimer, I've not finished Days Gone, but I put some time into Days Gone, and then life got in the way. And as I remember, I wasn't actually playing anything in that period. It wasn't a case of this was, it just life took over. But I actually thought Days Gone, like, it really grabbed me. It was like, this is brilliant. I love this. And obviously there's a lot of talk around when it got its PS5 release, but it was digital only. It still was dividing a lot of people in the comment sections on things, and for me, I think Days Gone is awesome. But it's one of those
the game
titles
director wade into a bunch of comment sections, and got very up in his feels, I seem to remember.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but like, it's because there was obviously we'd love a sequel. Like, I'd love a sequel to Days Gone. That would be ace. But there's lots of people in the comments saying yes, it was criminally underrated. Then others go, when it really wasn't that good. Like, move on. And it's in a typical comment section, man. But yeah, for me, that's what came to mind with that question. It wasn't so much at launch, but that was a game I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit because I actually think it's great. I
think it's the Horde tech was awesome. Like
epic.
It's one of those games with an incredibly awesome mechanic at its heart that deserved iteration, or deserved a sequel, just to see, okay, cool, what can this new tech really do with this? For a similar reason, actually, and I hate that it's vaulted. Like, Warner Brothers, sort your shiz out, right? Because like the Nemesis system in the Lord of the Rings games, like, it's criminal to me that we don't have a Gen 9 game in the
Lord of the Rings universe.
Yeah, in that Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War series. Like, the Nemesis system was so innovative. I can't remember if Monolith's actually been fully shuttered. I think it has, which is criminal. But yeah, I don't think they understand madness, absolute madness. I know that's not really answering the question, but like just leading on from Days Gone and the Horde tech, like another piece of tech that desperately needs a Gen 9 resurgence is Nemesis system. It's absolutely fantastic. Going back to Dorky Swimmer's question though, I've mentioned a few of these before. No One Lives Forever, absolutely fantastic spy thriller that no one knows about because it never went anywhere beyond PC. Binary Domain was a throwaway third-person shooter from Sega on Xbox 360 that I absolutely loved. It was so well made, and you could, like, because you were shooting robots and stuff, you could blow limbs off. It felt quite badass. But there was a really innovative, like, companion system as well. So it's just awesome. Vanquish. There are people out there that haven't played Vanquish, and for that very reason, it deserves a pick here because everyone needs to play Vanquish.
Okay.
But I think one of the games, something that sprang out to me was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy here. Incredibly well made game, really awesome action adventure. If you love that IP, it does a fantastic job of, kind of telling the story of how they become a family almost. And the gameplay's awesome, genuinely awesome. But I think it basically got sent out to die in the wake of Marvel's Avengers, because that game
Okay.
was such a massive disappointment. I think it sort of tarred and feathered Guardians of the Galaxy with the same brush, and it's criminal, really, because Guardians of the Galaxy genuinely, really, really, really awesome, like 8, 9 out of 10 action adventure game there. Like 9 if you love the IP, 8 if you're a bit like but just kind of want a truly blockbuster kind of experience. It's really, really, really good. So yeah, I think that definitely deserves a shout. And it didn't deserve to be lumped in with Avengers, which kind of tried to be a multiplayer game, tried to be one of those games that tries to be all things to all people and just ends up servicing no one well. So yeah, I wonder if Guardians of the Galaxy copped a bit of flack or just a bit of collateral damage. Because
I
they
never
both
played it,
kind of
but
released around the same time. And that's
possibly
it. Like
interesting.
very few people did. But it definitely deserves a look if you're into that sort of that genre and those characters. Really, really, really good. And then I kind of want to end on this lovely question, which I think it's a great one from Sonic Guru Dan, who says it's a two-parter. What type of game de-stresses you? And what type of game stresses you the most? Let's start with the games that stress you the most, and then let's end on the things that could be the salve to that, I suppose.
Okay, so it's like pain for pleasure almost, because like survival horror stresses me like nothing else, but I literally can't get enough of it. Like I finished the Silent Hill 2 remake finally, I think at the end of last week. And I felt like a part of me died when that game ended. I I don't remember the last time I've been so affected by a game. Like it was upsetting, deeply upsetting to me, and just unsettling. Truly, just and a true example of just brilliance when it comes to development. I just think it's an absolutely stunning game in all of the horrible ways that it tries to be. And I'll never ever ever play it again, ever.
Yeah, I think in terms of stressful experiences, I mean, you've seen the footage of me playing PT.
Yep,
You were there in the room with me when I was playing Resident
played Resi.
Evil
Yeah.
at Gamescom. So yeah, I don't have the nerves to really push through a lot of survival horror because it genuinely stresses me out to the point of wanting to leave.
I said this on social yesterday. I would actually rather go to literal prison than go back to Toluca prison in that game. Like genuinely, like take me away. I don't want to go back ever. That's probably why, between that and those mannequins which will haunt my dreams forever. Easy to kill, but dude, they just appear out of nowhere. You think you've checked every corner of that room, then boom, there's a mannequin kicking you in the face. Like, get away from me now. So between the absurd amount of mannequins that just appear and crawl the walls and Toluca Prison, I will never ever ever go back to Silent Hill 2. But it was also one of the best games I have ever played as a remake.
Love that.
And then,
I think survival,
sorry,
horror. I struggle with horror, and I think in games particularly, I don't mind horror films. I don't seek them out necessarily, but games it's the direct control. It's the direct control, particularly in first person. Like Outlast, it just absolutely screwed me up. Like PT, I lasted 10 minutes. I'm genuinely gonna struggle. I'm gonna struggle through. Like the thing is though, so often I love the stories, and actually, like Dead Space is a really great example. I think because I love
epic.
Event Horizon. I absolutely adore that film, and Dead Space is basically the game version of Event Horizon, crossed with Alien and to a certain extent. Like I love
Sam
Alien.
Neill. Sam Neill, baby.
But like I think so. Yeah, there my love for sci-fi overrode my anxiety with horror as I pushed through but also because like I wanted to know the story. So story pushes me through horror. I don't necessarily, if the story doesn't grab me, I will bounce out of it because it's too stressful. But if it's whether or not that narrative curiosity counterbalances my my horror stress. So yeah, I'm with you. Also, multiplayer games stress me out. Like competitive multiplayer games stress me out.
Yeah, multiplayer, and I think for me as well, from the overwhelming perspective, as I mentioned, I think in last week's pod, like RPGs, I don't like them because they overwhelm me. Like, is that stress? No, it's just something that I feel I don't wish to engage with.
I'm like that with MMOs. Like I've never been. I love RPGs, but for that reason, because it's too much to fathom with like MMOs and ever shifting metas in really hardcore competitive games. I can't deal with. Or I'm also rubbish. So
that doesn't help. I understand. Same, to be honest. I'm just not good enough. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this is at the end here. It's just evidence and the acceptance that we're just not good enough.
So with that in mind, I suppose, let's flip it on its head. What are the games that soothe and de-stress?
Because what I am good at are platformers. And so, for me, a nice platformer, just kind of even ones that are like challenging, that you have to get like a 50 button jump sequence correct to get through a time challenge. I just love that. Like the frustration I get from that is a warm, fuzzy frustration that it's like, and I know that when I've beaten that, it's because I did it. It's like kind of like in Mario when you die. It's like you died because you messed up. Like it's all about timing, right? And so for me, when I thought about like a de-stressing game, purely because I've been playing it a lot lately before bed, after like Silent Hill, jumping on and playing Croc, just because it's on my PS5, and like it's just beautiful. Like just a little game of Croc, to de-stress before bed. Platformers for me, I just find them so enjoyable. They're just comfort food. Even when I'm playing them for the first time, you can go back, like I say, and play Croc. Obviously, I had an absolute ball with Astrobot. Any Mario game, I'm there. But even platformers that I'm playing for the first time and it gets challenging, I don't find that stressful. It's a really engaging and like enjoyable feeling.
I love that. And it's similar in a similar vein. I think like just generally games I loved as a kid is always a nice escape. Nostalgia is always a lovely escape. Like if I'm really stressed and I need to de-stress, classic Mario games, anything from the N64 or GameCube era, I love it. Nintendo is often a place of solace, especially first party Nintendo is often a place of solace.
Yeah.
A game like a real low stress like game, like we've mentioned Captain Toad before, but that is a perfect example of a game that's just like, I don't have to worry about, everything's fine in this world. There's no peril, really. I'm just a cute mushroom dude in a vest with a hat looking for things. It's lovely. It's lovely.
Just looking. I can't jump. I can't even jump.
No,
I have to think my way around corners. And you know what? That is fine.
Yeah.
Because around that corner is not going to be anything that is trying to rip my head off. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Some left field options potentially as well. Like shout out little mobile word games. My missus and I after dinner, we'll always go through. So we'll do Wordle, and there's like a connections thing on the New York Times app now, and little mini crossword. It's really nice. So I love doing that.
Nice, man.
In a direct counter to what I said for games that stress me out, the only competitive multiplayer game these days that actually de-stresses me is Rocket League. But I think it's because it's so simple. Because there's no meta to worry about. you don't have to be amazing at first-person shooters. And I'm rubbish at Rocket League, but you don't have to be great, really. You just have to. It's just timing. It's just football with remote control cars. That's it. It's great. I love it.
Yes.
Rematch, I found a little bit too. Well, one, it was heavily dependent on having people that passed you, whereas Rocket League is so chaotic that you can fashion a role even if people are being ball hogs, because chaos will find you. Whereas rematch, there's no remedy really for like it's like going down the park as a kid. There's no remedy for that kid that's just a bit of a ball hog prick. There's just no remedy for that.
I hope that stays in. Don't you dare edit that out. Don't you dare edit that out. And then when you tackle him, he picks up the ball and says, "It's my ball and you're not playing."
Exactly that. Thankfully, that doesn't happen in rematch. It's
my game. It's my game and you're not playing. That used to happen in school all the time. Like, no, whose game is it, boys? Oh, it's David's game. Oh, David, can I play? No. Oh, hide. Like, just go and kick the ball, man. Like, no, it's his game and he said you can't play. Don't ever take me back to the schoolyard. Like, no. Horrific.
But I think like two types of games specifically I'll mention. One, in direct opposite to you, mate. I'm sorry. RPGs. I love immersing myself in a world. I love it. It's like a bath. It's like a bubble bath for the soul. And really boring sports games. So like I got into, I think it was like last year. So wife's in the third trimester, just before Max was born. And like, I don't know if I was like feeling serious anxiety or whatever. But like Cricket 24 or something was on Game Pass, and I just downloaded it, and it became. I don't even like cricket. I don't watch it. I don't play it. Like, every once in a while, used to play quick cricket as a kid, I guess. But like, it's not a passion of mine. But yeah, I would play that for an hour in the evenings, and it would just be the most banal experience. But for some reason, that's my Euro Truck Simulator, because I don't like driving big rigs or anything like that. And I know plenty of people will do that or play Farming Sim, for the same sort of thing. For me, it was just monotonous bowling. And then going into bat and like getting out in like 10 balls but hitting sixes on all of them. It's good stuff.
Going out on your sword, mate. I like it.
100%.
Yeah. You've just unlocked the memory, by the way, of when I went to Spain as a kid and my dad took the PlayStation with him because he wanted to play Brian Lara cricket. And like, I remember like we were in the villa, and it's like, my stepmother's like, where is he? And he's in the bedroom. He's in the bedroom in like 30 odd degrees playing Brian Lara cricket. And it's like, he's on holiday, leave him be. But it's like, there we are. Like, yeah, Brian Lara cricket.
That's commitment. Was epic. What a game.
On PlayStation.
Brian Lara cricket, Jonah Lomu rugby, absolute classics.
Peak.
Absolute classics. So yeah, those are our picks. What are your comfort games? Listeners, viewers, let us know in the comments if you've got any feedback on the podcast, or any further questions or anything that we've said, especially in that section around kind of the retail side of things and how we operate. Are you buying an Xbox ROG Ally X? We'd love to know. We'd love to know why. Genuinely. And yeah, what we're gonna do a Game of the Year podcast, a dedicated Game of the Year podcast closer towards the end of the year. We'll probably line that up for kind of mid-December. But yeah, if there are categories or things in there that you'd like to see us talk about, or anything you'd like to see us talk about or hear us talk about on the podcast, do let us know. If you listen to this on Spotify, please drop us a review if you haven't already.
Please rate us.
Please tell your friends about this show. And for all of your physical gaming needs,
check out
the game collection.
There it is. Thank you, collectors. We appreciate you.
Have a lovely weekend.
Another pod in the bag, and we will see you next week for a Halloween special.
Oh yes, talking about everything spooky, scary, boys becoming men becoming wolves,
and stuff. I don't know what's going on there. And stuff. and just stuff, because we don't talk about survival horror at all on this pod.
No, we've never mentioned horror games
ever. So next week will be fun.
I think one of our things for next week will be games beyond the horror genre that scared the bejesus out of us. I think that should definitely be a segment. But yeah, if you've got questions, if you've got things that you'd like to see us talk about on our Halloween special, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. We'll definitely put out a tweet around Monday-ish, asking for further questions on that front. But yeah, have a great week.
Are we doing fancy dress? Are we doing fancy dress?
I don't know that I've got any.
Not me.
Scary. But we have apart from this face, but I can't control that.
You are a glorious looking man. Do not ever say that about yourself ever again.
I could just drip ketchup all over that nice pristine white lab coat that I bought off the internet.
See, you're thinking outside the box now. This is dedication.
But then I think the next Gaming Doctor video might be a bit sinister.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for Halloween, but the other 11 months of the year, it's problematic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway, little bit of a sidetrack there. As Matt said, for all of your physical gaming needs, check out
the Game Collection.
That's the one.
We'll catch you next week, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Speak to you next week. Bye.